And then, of course, there's the homeschool space. A lot of families prefer to educate kids at home. Um, my experience is that homeschoolers either are exceptional or, if the parents don't do a good job and aren't diligent, then it's total failure. Um, you know,
I agree.
so I think, that's where parents, it's a responsibility side of things. But for those parents who are diligent and engaged and really put the effort into it, the results can be phenomenal in the development of their children.
They can.
But that certainly is the goal. And if they're not able to do that, then responsibility would say put them someplace that can.
Well, I think there are other options too. To me, here I am in state ed policy. I would be so intimidated to homeschool, but
Mhm.
there are great curriculums online
Yeah,
that are very rigorous.
yeah,
And so if your student is a self-motivated, self-driven individual, I mean, that would be fine. Parents know their children best
yeah,
and they know what's suited best for them. Another option would be most states have a homeschooling law. That would be, your homeschooling. What about group schooling, where you might
mhm,
hire one or two teachers to teach various subject areas to maybe 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 children?
mhm.
Those group schoolings are starting to crop up under the guise of homeschooling.
Right.
And yeah, and so there are a lot of, and then the charter schools. Charter schools have many different flavors, and and some charter schools are online.
Yeah.
So that's another option.
So, yeah, you brought out some important things. I think a lot of homeschool parents and families have hooked into these groups of homeschoolers where they have specialists who are content specialists, curriculum specialists, subject matter specialists that actually work with their students. Also gives them social connections and so forth. And that's been a very healthy development, I think, in this homeschool space. And you talked about, some of the, different crossover, but so there are some states that allow students, regardless of where they are, what system they're in, the public school system allows students to come in for, say, a math or a science or a music or a sports or a whatever. But because those people are citizens in that state, they have the right to that public education, even if they are not enrolling that student in as a full-time student. That student still has the right to take coursework wherever they need it. And I know that there are some states that allow that, some states do not. What are your thoughts on that?
The public pays for public education. I think it's time that we kind of open our minds and our opportunities to meet the needs of parents and families. And I don't have a problem with that at all. If you have a child that excels in music and loves the cello, most parents don't know how to play the cello and can instruct their child. They
Mhm.
might not have a music teacher in the area that does, except the one at the local high school. And so the schools were formulated to serve the people
Yeah.
and to provide an education. Well, let's do that. Another issue with athletes. I had a family full of athletes, and I was one myself. The high school leagues. The high
Mhm.
school leagues didn't want charter schools students to participate in football or basketball or whatever.
Right.
That's absurd. What are we here for? We're not here to guard and manage, guard our shop. We're here to serve our children. And so it's time that we have fluidity between the opportunities that we have in education and let parents have their children soar with their strengths.
Mhm.
And when we do that, we will always come out better.
Yeah.
When people are involved in music, it stimulates the brain in different ways.
Yes, it does.
And so athletics, the same.
Mhm.
It really does enhance your ability to concentrate, to learn, to do, and to be successful. So let's let children soar with their strengths. If it means a charter school that focuses, we have rural charter schools that are STEM schools. They're elongated day STEM schools. These are rural schools, really rural schools that are STEM schools. How great is that?
Yeah.
Just because you come from a rural area and nobody in your family's ever been to college, there are a lot of people, I have to tell you, that aren't going to send their children to college because they're concerned about what they're being taught in college. And if let's let children soar with their strengths and give them an opportunity to have an array of options that will allow them to do that.